what is the common entry roles? Is a master degree is worth it? Which certification are best in the industries?
No, I think only skills are required, and degree doesn't have any value. So we still have those, things like if, if I go into cybersecurity, would I be a hacker or like a professional cybersecurity guy or ethical hacker? Is coding required or not? A lot of people have this recent question about, AI is going to take over job, how it's going to affect us and all. That you should not always go for one mentor. Okay, you should go for multiple mentors. We know Apple, Microsoft, Google, Meta, Amazon, they are all biggest companies, top companies in the infotech world only. Say how to hack like we hack in the movies like Matrix and stuff.
Hello. My name is Dr. David Page. I'm director of operations.
I have applied all my last 10 years of job through LinkedIn only. What are the biggest dream companies that you want to work for?
Preference was EY and Deloitte. So what are the common entry level roles and titles in cybersecurity according to you? Hi guys, welcome to the session on Coffee with Prabh, and today we have a special guest, my friend Chintan, a cybersecurity professional with 13 years of experience in vulnerability management, threat intel, pen testing, and attack surface management. He hold MSc from UK, and he also have a lot of industry credentials like OSCP, CS, CTI, along with that SANS. He was also a technical reviewer for one of the book and also co-authored one of the course which is endorsed by the EC Council on applied attack surface analysis. He also served as a board advisor. Along with that, he do workshops, and one of the recent workshop he did in Black Hat, and also one of the known workshop I know is mobile application hacking security workshop, the Hackon. Along with that, he discovered two CVs, common vulnerability exposures, and on several bug bounty programs. Along with that, he is also the author of well-known Recon tool for ASM Froggy 2.0. And he also published a lot of checklists on different type of pen testing, which can be include application, network, and all that. Thank you, Chintan Bhai, for joining for this particular podcast. And I was very, very excited for this podcast from last 1.5 year.
Yeah, I think thanks for having me here. I think I know it's like kind of a long pending due, but
Yeah.
I think we say that things come later. They come
Yes.
with a better quality and quantity. So hopefully, yeah.
Why I said team, like, I was literally behind this person from last 1.5 year. By hook and crook, Chintan, I want you to in podcast. See, there's a lot of noise regarding how to make a career in cybersecurity, do this certification, do that certification. But in front of you, the guy I know, Chintan, he known for his hard work. He's not something, okay, got any kind of a back support from anyone. Okay, yes, this is the job, and then you can do that. He built his own aura, he built his own profile, and did the transition from India, went to New Zealand, then UK, and he worked with a lot of big companies. And that is the reason, I want him on on this podcast. And one more important thing, I always fan of his the documentation what he create on checklist, very interesting checklist on pen testing, ASM, and all that. And it basically inspired me because when he launched a Froggy 2.0, and that something is basically the eye opener for me. And I thought I want a actual person on this podcast who actually talk about the reality of cybersecurity career. And I'm sure, I'm 100% sure, the way I did the podcast with Utsav Ansok, I believe this will be also one of the eye opener for all the aspiring learners who want to make a career in cyber security. So thanks, Chintan. Thanks for taking out the time. In shorts, I'm really thankful that okay, on short notice you joined this particular podcast, and that shows your community driven things and all that which you coming back to society. Thank you so much, yeah.
No worries, all good.
So Chindan, when we're talking about a lot of buzzword around cybersecurity, we have there's a lot of videos on how to make a career in cybersecurity, how to make one CR, how to make one CR in a year, how to become crorepati with cybersecurity, how to become a billionaire with cybersecurity. There's a lot of buzzword around that. So before jumping into that, what to know before entering into cybersecurity? Okay.
Yeah,
What only the 0.1% people know about this reality. So can you just share some insights on that area?
yeah, sure. And in other words, I would say how to hack like we hack in the movies like Matrix and stuff. Because what we
CMD
have
prompt.
received. Yeah, what we have perceived as a, image of hacker with a black hoodie and stuff, that has always been changed. So I created a very short presentation. So now this is going to be interesting. So I do want to provide the proper guide, practical steps, actionable checklist and stuff, but at the same time we have to take a step back. So
Hmm.
let me share my screen and then we'll go through it. Okay, so I think the step back which I was talking about is why we are still talking about the career guide in 2025. Especially the internet is flooded with so many guides, so many checklists, either on Medium, GitHub, so many podcasts and stuff. But still, I believe that these are the fundamental, myths and realities which are still pending in the cybersecurity world. So even though we have answers, but the answers vary from blog to blog, from podcast to podcast. And I know that there won't be always one answer, and this will keep on changing from person to person or tech to tech or domain to domain. So I think this is the reason why I wanted to come upfront and then wanted to provide you the actionable checklist and stuff. So we still have those, things like i- if I go into cybersecurity, would I be a hacker or like a professional cybersecurity guy or ethical hacker? Is coding required or not? A lot of people have this recent question about, AI is going to take over job, how is going to affect us and all, and what are the entry level stuff and all. So I think these are all the questions that we want to target. Now, we don't want to target all of the things in a separate manner, but we want to create an approach. So I created something which is based on my experience. What is my 8 practical steps, kind of a approach. So this is the approach which I'm taking. So we talk about like what are the entry level stuff and all, but I think not a lot of people know that how many different domains and subdomains are there in cybersecurity. So obviously hardly we have heard beginners talking about the SOC, L1, L2, L3, pen test or bug bounty mostly, but there are more than 30 to 40 subdomains in cybersecurity. So first we need to know the breadth, and I'm going to show you how you can know the breadth in a later session today. So first we have to know the breadth. You got a multiple domain subdomain, then you select something, and then you can choose 2 or 3 subdomains. So these are the subdomains that you are interested and you know nothing about them. Okay, and then you ask a 10 to 15 different questions, and I'll give you the questions as well. Then you can ask those questions to your mentors, to ChatGPT or everyone, and then you can ask them, okay, what are the differences in domain? And then you can choose one domain that you want to go and make your career, but then you need to have a study plan. Now, there are 19 different ways to learn from one domain. So some people like books, some people like ChatGPT and stuff. So I have also given a practical, tips on which, learning module that you should go for. What are the pros and cons? Okay, for example, someone like reading a book. It's structured, it's detailed, but it's time consuming compared to that someone like a YouTube podcast. So I think that's fast, but I'm not sure whether they'll cover depth and breadth. So yeah, these are all the tips that I'm going to share. So basically, we have to learn, we have to find a mentor, then we have to find our first job and what are the tips in the first job, interview preparation, why resume and LinkedIn building is one of the most interesting and most important skills to have. And I have learned and I have gained a lot from my LinkedIn building. I'll also share my some of the statistical analysis based on my LinkedIn profile. So I think this is the methodology that I would recommend people to follow, especially who are the beginners. So okay, we'll start with my website. So on my website, I have a lot of stuff from I regularly write blogs. I have a lot of visualization here and stuff. Now, one of the section is a kickstart here. So in the kickstart, I know this is a long. Okay, so one of the reasons that I'm recording this podcast with you is I know that people don't have patience. They don't, keep um reading the long stuff. And this is a very long practical guy. Okay, now I can promise you one thing. I have given this to more than 400 people, and hardly 2 to 3% of the people have completed reading this word by word. And when I give them, I always tell them read it word by word because that's going to change your life. One thing that I can promise out of this blog is I have reviewed more than 60 Medium articles, GitHub articles, podcasts, and stuff, and there are so many career guides, but they are all in the form of either text or voice, but they are not giving you the actual, practical checklist or mind map to follow word by word. So this is the only reason I created this guide. So you mentioned about the one of the thing like how can we find out what are the domains and different domains and subdomains cybersecurity. So which is the question number 2 here. So what I'm recommending. Okay, imagine you work in a big product-based company, let's say Reliance, Tata Sky, Jio, or any company. The last designation in cybersecurity in a product-based company would be CISO, Chief Information Security Officer.
Hmm.
As a one Chief Information Security Officer, you will be responsible for offensive, defensive, GRC, every single domain and subdomain. So
Hmm.
somehow we need to find what all CISO does in a large product-based company. So this guy, Rafiq Rahman, he has created one of the greatest mind map of
Hmm.
how CISO mind map would look like. So this is 2024, but you can also find 2025. So what this tells you is basically there are different domains and subdomains. So let's say security operations center. Now you got prevention, detection, incident management, and then you got vulnerability management, application security. So vulnerability management, application security are different subdomains of cybersecurity. Likewise, log analysis and then SOC operations, same way. Also, you can go for the identity management and stuff. So this is your complete list to know what is the breadth of the cybersecurity. Does
Okay.
that answer your question, Prabh?
Yes. But
Okay,
but but I want to deep dive into more on that area. Definitely, but yes, I got the perspective about preventive and detective. But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, when it comes to the infosec, cyber, and all that, we have a multiple verticals. We have a product, we have a process, we have a offensive, we have a defensive, and all that. Huh? Preventive and all that, all are basically mapped with different categories. But it's very important. Not every job is basically designed for a CISO.
right,
We can't expect a fresher to be a CISO. Okay, it's not about demotivating, but I'm telling the reality. In one
right.
condition, he can be a CISO if he's running his own company. So how
Yeah,
do you see this particular process? Okay. So it's a very good point you said, that okay, we should first understand your area of interest. But Chintan, you need to also understand on this part. There is a lot of things. There's a lot of noise regarding a cybersecurity as a money making career. So there's a two type of people who getting into cyber. One is basically like people like you or people like me who know we're passionate about that.
right,
Okay, we have not entered because we expect that we get a revenue. We joined because it is our interest. The
right.
second is some people saw Chintan. Now, Chintan was in his hometown. From here, he moved to Delhi, and then from there, he moved to New Zealand, and then from there, he moved to UK. Now, for me, it's a very good thing if I'm next to Chintan house staying and all that. And then I decided what the way the Chintan did, I will also do the same way.
Hmm.
So this is basically the second kind of people. So I want this podcast to be more focused on that kind of an audience who actually get influenced by a lot of influencers who create a YouTube videos on that. Even I'm also influencer. I'm not denying the fact I also create a lot of videos in cyber. Okay. And that is the reason I want you to share your perspective because that is a live example for the people
Right,
who did the transition from India and today he working in UK, whose name is Chintan.
right. So I think we talked about the step one as of
Hmm.
now. So
Hmm.
step one is to know the breadth.
Hmm.
Now you will slowly deep dive into the stuff. So from here, at least let's say if I'm a complete beginner, I come here and I know that these are all the different fields in cyber,
Hmm.
right? Now, just by going with the name, if I like couple of domain now, well, let's say vulnerability management or application security. Now, I'm still a beginner, but I won't be that much of beginner that I wouldn't know what application security meaning is, right?
Hmm.
So out of this, the step two would be identifying 2 to 3 domains that you are fancy about. Either you have, read about that in your master's, bachelor's, or in some sort of course, or you have seen people working on these domains on LinkedIn, your friends and
Hmm.
all.
Hmm.
So once you select, and I would suggest at least go for the 3 different subdomains, right? Now,
Example?
so for
Let's say one
example,
example. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, so let's say for example, uh, the reason that I'm talking about 3 domains because as a beginner, if they go on a LinkedIn, a lot of LinkedIn, posts are flooded with I got X many amount of bug bounty, I got X many CVs and stuff. So they get attracted by money and fame, and they also start following the bug bounty as a journey, but they don't know what are the different domains and subdomains. So for
Hmm.
example, what I'm doing, okay, I went to the CISO mind map. I like 2 to 3 different domains. Let's say vulnerability management, pen test, or SOC, right? Now I don't know what is happening in this domain. So that is a step two. So here is a list of all 10 practical questions which you will ask your mentor or ChatGPT or any AI, and this will give you an answer. So for example, what is this domain? or what do people do in this domain? Where can I start as a basic designation and go on the top? How can I, compare the tools and methodologies being used? And is it something I can learn by sitting at home? So for example, SOC is something you will have to work in a company, compared to pen test is something that you can learn by your home on the
Hmm.
internet. So
Hmm.
I want people to go through these top 10 questions for each and every domain. Now there are two ways to do that. Either you sit with a mentor, ask these 10 questions and they will guide you. At the same time, you can go for the AI. I suggest if you go for the AI, this is something how I would write the prompt. Okay, I'm
Hmm.
selecting vulnerability management, SOC, and pentest domain. These are the top 10 questions you answer, but you answer me questions in the form of the comparison.
Hmm.
So suddenly, ChatGPT will start comparing these three domains for you for those 10 questions. Now, at least you know 50% theory of what is happening within the domain.
Yeah.
And if that attracts you, then you can select one or two domain to start your career with. So this is how you would select the breadth, then pick three domains, get answer of those 10 questions, and now you know what is happening then. And I give you a guarantee that if you answer those 10 questions and if you understand what that means, I think you will have a better clarity compared to any beginner who would literally start jumping into the sock or bug bounty just by looking at the other people, because this is where your critical thinking and logical analysis would need to be applied. So this
And
is
and
how I
I
would
and
select
I
the
and I,
domain.
be- I believe that okay, there are a lot of burnout because of the reason, when they don't have visibility and they simply jump into the a particular field, and after some period of time, if they don't get a results, they get burnout.
Right. So yeah, burnout is one of them, and I also call it a demotivation.
Hmm.
So in cybersecurity, and this is very common, and a lot of people would feel stress. So there are two types of demotivation. Okay, so I'll give you a practical example. This is something also I have covered here. So for example, let's say
Can you zoom it a
this is,
little bit?
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Hmm.
So let's assume Prabh, you are here, I'm here. Okay. Now you see that I have a lot of skills and a lot of knowledge and all, and then you will get demotivated. So I call it a skills demotivation. Okay.
Hmm.
Now people get demotivated, but they just need to change the perspective.
Hmm.
Rather than comparing yourself and myself, okay, you would just need to find a delta. So delta is okay, I have only these things extra. So once you learn these things, I think we both are same, right? So
Hmm.
this is called first type of demotivation, demotivation. Now
Hmm.
you would obviously have a second question that Chintan, you have 14 years of experience. By the time I learned this, you would be far ahead in your career. Okay, so that is something I call experience demotivation. So basically, this is the life expectancy. I am
Hmm.
here, you are here. Okay, after some point of time, I'll retire, I'll stop, I'll die, I'll stop working. So being a younger, you would still have a lot
More
of
time.
years to catch up on new things, which I already
Exactly.
stopped here.
Exactly. So
So
let's say
at
example
the
of
end, we
20.
all are same.
Exactly. So if you take example, if someone has died on 2020, he
Yeah,
doesn't enjoy the AI.
yeah,
But
definitely.
you as a junior, you have more
Yeah,
year to survive. You have more year to live. I'm not sorry to say survive universe. I'm saying you have more year to live. And I
yeah.
think you will see a lot of things in those 5 years. It's a very
Yeah, so
good.
the idea is to keep motivating yourself. Just
Mm,
have a positive thinking. Don't
mm,
look at, and then what I seen beginners do comparison a lot. Okay, and they get demotivated. But you have to compare apple with apple, not apple
mm,
with orange. Some
mm,
people, some beginners are there. Do they have 3 to 5 years of experience? And they are seeing my profile. They are comparing themselves to me. And I was like, no, I have 14 years of experience. You have 5 years of experience. Okay, after 14 years, you would probably have more knowledge even than me. So we need to start changing the perspective by just, so I think these are the two setbacks I think we will discuss about.
and that is a saying in human psychology also say you are not inferior, you are not superior, you are simply you.
Yeah, that's correct.
You are
I believe I call it like every DNA on earth is different.
exactly.
And for example, like Amitabh Bachchan cannot hack like me. I cannot do any acting like Amitabh Bachchan, but we
Exactly.
both are same in my
Even in the
eyes.
cyber also, like you
Yeah,
have a different thought process of seeing the attack surface management. I have a different perspective of seeing the attack surface management because by under the security is a continuous process. And that's why even, I truly believe in human psychology is that 99.5% people get demotivated because of this superiority or inferiority complex. They
yeah,
believe Prabh has more experience or Chintan has a more experience. No. Even you put your effort, you get more insights in less time. because as the age grows and all that, everything get weak and like mind get weak and all that. You have a better thought process. You can process more information more faster. I think if we start comparing your ourself itself, 5 years back what I was doing and now I'm what I'm doing, that give you good motivation instead of comparing with anyone. And I believe 90% of social media life is lying. No
Hmm.
one want to post. So come on, you're not going to post your the regular practices photos on the LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay, even my picture is different in LinkedIn. Okay, I won't be like this on LinkedIn. So we should not compare the identity based profile or skill based profile, at least from LinkedIn.
Yeah, so what was happened previously? I mean, they were comparing, and we tell them, okay, now you need to catch up. After 5 years, you will be like
Hmm.
same, okay?
Hmm.
So they still were thinking positively, and they were trying to catch up and follow our footstep. But imagine what has happened in the last 6, 7 years since ChatGPT and AI and LLM came. Now technology is revolving a lot. Now that 5 year of time span has also reduced. Now they have to catch up
Exactly.
a lot in a very no time, and still so many layoffs and all these things are happening, so now they have got reduced time but still have to catch up a lot, so I think there is a race.
Exactly. I agree on that part. It's all about you need to keep update yourself. That's the only thing. And when you said about okay, so we have decided we have 8 steps and but what is the key tip from your side to keep doing your own current job? And with that, you need to so let's say example, I am from an IT and
Right.
cybersecurity is something I recently got attract and all that. So I'm already in IT. So how I keep doing my current job and along with that, how can I learn cyber?
Yeah, sure. So I think I recommend people to keep doing their current job
Hmm.
because you are not your own. You have a family, you have a
Hmm.
financial situation. So some people also take a break for like 6, 7 months, 1 year, and then they just focus on one certification or something,
Hmm.
and then try to jump into cyber. Okay, it works for some people, it doesn't work for every people, depends your financial situation, your time, your family, your commitments and dependencies. So I think this also ties to the third step what we were going to discuss about. So for example, we knew the breadth, we selected some domains, we asked those 10 questions, now we know what is happening in each and every domain.
Hmm.
For example, if I select a vulnerability management, then what is my next step? As a beginner, I know nothing about vulnerability management, so how would I learn that? So if we go on the third step here, so there are so many different ways to learn. So for example, reading a book, YouTube playlist, ChatGPT, official certification, online course and stuff, right? So reading a book, I now the thing is that people will have a different preferences.
Hmm.
So what are the pros and cons I have also mentioned here. So as a beginner, you would come here, you would know a different sort of options for learning.
Hmm.
You only read first four columns, one, two, three, four,
Hmm.
and then you ask yourself, I think which one you would prefer. And let's
Hmm.
say once you select any of these, then only go to the last column.
Hmm.
So for example, reading a book seems simple, but yeah, pros are it's structured in detail, but it will be time consuming. But let's say you have research about this and then you have decided to go for the book, then I'm also giving you a detailed practical tips on how to find that. So for example, if I
Because
go here,
I was about to ask this question. Reason why is, as you know, when it comes to after ChatGPT, there's a lot
hmm,
of author came in the market,
yeah,
and you can able to figure out, from the book, it is a ChatGPT generated content.
yeah,
The quality of the books which was there before 2020 and if you compare
hmm,
with today, you see a huge difference. So I was about to ask that question is how to verify author. Okay, how, and even you said, Prab, I'm starting my career in vulnerability management. Okay, I understood
hmm,
from the chat GPT, I understood from the mentor, he said you should do this, but what should be the first thing I should learn?
right. Yeah. Okay. So, for example, let's say you have decided that you want to go for the book. Okay. Now, I'm just giving you one example of why I had to create the fifth column. Because, if I go normal people or beginner, what they would do, they will go on a Google and search for the vulnerability management book. Whatever
Hmm.
comes first, whatever free PDF, they will download. They'll
Hmm.
start reading it. And probably, if someone tells them or they will figure out that this book is 10 years old. So
Hmm.
that is something that I want to avoid. So, for example, I would go and search for any books here, but then I would also filter it by the newest arrival.
Hmm.
So I would start learning things from here. But again, I'm not learning for every and any book. Now I
Hmm.
will take the author name. I'll also look at the table of content. If table of content is something which is covered everything or not, probably give that table of content to ChatGPT and ask whether it covers entire vulnerability management or not. Once you
Excellent.
got Once you got the author name, you can go on a LinkedIn profile, check their certification, their credentials, since how long they are producing the book, which all big companies they have worked for, was the vulnerability management their core domain or not, or it was recently they have started, or they have started producing books after the AI era came into the picture. So you need to do this sort of research in order to find your book and stuff. And I think you mentioned about the chat GPT and AI. So I do believe that a lot of content came out, whether it's a blog or stuff. Okay. Now, I also use ChatGPT. Everyone uses. It depends what is the quality and quantity, right? So I was anyway producing blogs. I was anyway producing diagrams even before ChatGPT. Now, since ChatGPT came into the picture, that has
It's same
reduced
button.
my work, but has also increased my efficiency and quality. So that is still okay to use. We discuss about, let's say, you find a book, you found an author, but how would you know whether it's a true or not? So I think I have also given one checklist here, which is slightly related to this. So this is like how to find a quality mentor. So these are all the things that you would avoid in order to find a quality mentor. Don't get attracted by my number of certification. Don't get attracted because I have 14 years of experience. Don't get attracted because I have 18,000 followers and stuff. Okay. You need to have a blend of this. And also, even if you ignore all the red flags here, you still need to have more than 5 or 6 mentors from different area, different domain, different experience and stuff.
My
So,
first two
for
criteria I doesn't met.
yeah, so basically,
You will also be not going to meet after 1 year definitely.
definitely, yeah, because a lot of youngsters are catching up.
No, not about catching up. This called don't select the mentor based on the number of certification. Right now you have around 10 plus, and by next year you will have a 20.
It depends what my company has. So to be honest, when I started my career for from 2013, sorry,
Hmm.
2014 to
14.
2018,
Hmm.
I did not have a single cert. I was still able to crack the interviews because I had two things extra. So my background was into web and graphic designing.
Wow.
So I knew how to present myself and my resume to a non-technical HR because they will be
Hmm.
the forefront when
Hmm.
you apply for the job. Only
Hmm.
if they pass it, then only you can show your skills to your hiring manager. So I was
But
able to get,
then it is an interesting question because
yeah,
before I want to discuss this point, I want to discuss this point because I think this will be the motivation for a lot of people. The guy with
hmm,
a 4 year of experience without certification got a job. I know this is a very important part, but I don't want to lose this interest. So is it okay? Can you just share the insight how you got a job without having a certification?
right. So you look at the job description. Okay. By the time you would all have already have some mentors.
Hmm.
Okay. You look at the job description, you ask mentor that what are the day-to-day responsibilities into that. Now,
Hmm.
when I started my career, not the SOC wasn't, hot potato. So
Hmm.
a lot of jobs were around web application pen testing and stuff. Now,
Hmm.
bug bounty in pen testing is something people would start from their early career. So I knew
Hmm.
that what they would ask. Now, a lot of people would have a pen testing skills, but as a beginner, they might not have a client experience, communication experience, and
Exactly.
stuff.
Agree.
So only thing that I did is I wanted to show what are the job descriptions on my resume. So
Hmm.
take the job description, try to tailor your resume, and then apply. So you might get a better chances. So this was the only stuff I did. Now a lot of HR came to me in the first 30 minutes of interview round and they asked, you don't have any certification. We got some profile with the certifications. So I told them because initially, because of my financial situation, I'm not going for certification, but I have that knowledge. I can complete your technical round. Okay. Once I join your company, if you or your clients are asking for the certified people to test their applications, you sponsor, I'm happy to do that.
Hmm.
So that was the simple answer. So I tell them that, okay, you put me through the technical people, I will
Hmm.
pass the interview, and
Hmm.
then I'm happy to go for the certification if you require. So this is how I found my all first consulting job. At the same time, I also found the assistant manager job in KPMG New Zealand without
Hmm.
cert. And then slowly, some of the New Zealand clients wanted certified people. So my boss asked me to go for the CEH and then OACP. So I completed within no time. So this is how I started.
But how you got the job in KPMG in New Zealand? Because I still remember you did the transition from India to New Zealand, and I believe you are not going for the education there. You because education you were doing in UK. So what was the
Yeah,
journey
so
behind that? Yeah.
It's very up and down. So I came to UK in 13-14
Okay.
and then okay,
Hmm.
so I did my masters in UK for
Hmm.
13-14.
Hmm.
Um like every expat student, you also expect the post-study work visa.
Hmm.
So I was going for the post-study work visa, which is only 2 years, but I was not able to secure the sponsorship job.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I would have stayed here. So I had to
Hmm.
come back to India, but I had, minimum pen testing requirement to at least have a, good job in India as a
Hmm.
beginner career. So I started doing a job, but the one thing that stuck into my mind, I always wanted to, live and work in this part of the world because I did my master's here. So I kind of like the environment.
Hmm.
So initially, out of my interest, I started applying to UK and I wasn't getting any, response.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of people would also get demotivated,
Hmm.
whether they're beginner or even they have 8 years of experience and they are still
Hmm.
applying and they are not even getting single call.
Hmm.
Uh, Probably, I still see a misconception in India that sponsorship is just a one later. Why companies are not offering sponsorship? And this is completely lie. Sponsorship is a big process and it's a cost to company. So, for example, if a company in UK wants to sponsor a candidate in India, they would have to spend 8,000, nearly 8,000 pound in 200, so probably 8 lakh for one candidate.
Hmm.
And if that candidate is married and they have children, they have to, it will be cumulative amount. It will be cost to the company. And there are no settings which can be happen. So, for example, you ask them, okay, I think you sponsor and then you deduct from my salary. It doesn't happen, and that
Hmm.
would be illegal. So that's why a lot of foreign companies they prefer the local candidate who does not require a sponsorship. So
Okay.
that was the same thing. I didn't get a job as a beginner. So I came to India. I started building my career, and then I had like 4 or 5 different, company experience within 3 years.
Hmm.
I got a pen testing skills and all. But one thing that I constantly did is you wake up, you eat food, you take a bath, you apply 10 jobs and done and dusted. Okay. Now, if I'm doing something with an expectation, it will hurt me. Okay, so initially for the first 2 months, it hurt me because I'm not getting any response.
Hmm.
So I made my routine that, okay, like I'm eating every day for the breakfast, okay, I'll just apply 10, 15 jobs and then I'll forget about that. I know that I'm not getting any calls. So from 2014 to 17, I applied in more than 600 companies and I only got 20 calls. But even after coming on HR round, first 20 calls, and some of the HR say, oh, you require sponsorship, so we are not going ahead with you. So only 5 companies scheduled my interview because they were ready to sponsor. And only 2 companies gave me an offer. So one was the Accenture and another was KPMG.
Okay.
So I think the process, which I also tell people, is just brute force without expectation. Okay, you may feel that okay, you got a job after 5 years
Hmm.
of after 800 applications, but you don't see a big picture. If you come after 5 years, your next 40 years in this country are set. So I would only request people to go for the smart brute force.
But Chintan, like I'm really sorry we are going off the topic, and it's a very interesting thing. And I want to ask here is when you did the brute force for 4 years when you're applying for a job. Now, if you compare with 2025, okay, when it compare with 25, you see that there's a lot of difference in cybersecurity. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong. When someone asks me, like those who are in India, when I travel to some places and all that, and they tell me, "Prem, I'm looking for an outside job." So I always say one thing, boss, if you're looking for a job outside, you need to bring something on a table. No, come on, you are a CISSP, you are a CH. They already have a CISSP CH guy, or they have already OSCP guy. But what is a unique skills you bring on your CV which make the company to sponsor visa? So how
Right.
true it is? Is it true? Like, can we say because when you said you have applied for 600 jobs, 220 jobs calls you got, out of which two got. What is a what made them to give you a call, and how how this call has been happen? And reason of I'm
Okay.
asking is I don't want someone to get influenced by some random videos, and I want this video should be a eye opener for everyone, and I'm sure after seeing this video there's a lot of mindsets getting changed for the people.
Right. Okay. So to be honest, 50% is your profile and your presentation, and 50% is luck. Okay.
Hmm.
And when I say luck, is you present yourself, and it is always going to either ATS or
Hmm.
AI, which is screening your resume, or HR, who are mostly non-technical. In some big companies, there are also technical HR as well. But you need to showcase yourself something different out of your profile. Okay. So I do a lot of stuff. So I'll also share my resume and format. There are also myths that okay, in UK you have to use the UK format, in USA format. I use the same format from the last 10 years and I have got into multiple companies.
Hmm.
Okay. Now when I mention about the brute force, you have to be a smart brute force. So let me share one of the thing
Yeah,
that I did.
please. I'm going to get a lot of hits on this video. Mark my word. Thank you.
Okay, so how did I do the brute force? So I wanted to come in UK, but I knew that initially after 3 months I wasn't successful. So I created a list. Okay, I want to go into all of these countries. So I created a list. Okay,
Hmm.
so now I have UK, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and let's say 15 country list. In each country, I'm spending my 1 week of time. Okay, so what I do, let's say I'm selecting a New Zealand. So for
Hmm.
the first week, I'm adding 30 to 40 cybersecurity people from New Zealand only.
Wow.
Okay, so for example, let me go back here. And the way I would find is, let's say cybersecurity.
Hmm.
If you are particular about your own domain, then you can type your own domain here and then go to people. Now, people use a search bar, but they don't utilize the filters a lot. And people might use filters, but there are so
Hmm.
many filters if you go here. Okay,
Hmm.
so I'm giving cybersecurity people, and let's say New Zealand here.
Hmm.
Okay, now there would be a lot of people who are added into my profile, so I can go for the second and third. So these
Okay,
are the
first is
those
the one who connected with you.
who are connected. So I will
Hmm.
start adding these people. There would be
Hmm.
always a weekly limit, so 30 to 40 security people.
Hmm.
And let's say if the weekly limit is 40, then I'm only restricting to add 40 people from cybersecurity industry, and then
Hmm.
I'm adding 20 security recruiters.
Hmm.
Now, not a lot of people know that there are cybersecurity specific recruiters. So if I search for the cybersecurity recruiter here.
I think there is a guy from Australia, in Melbourne and all that. I forget his name. He do a lot of hiring on cybersecurity. I think he also in touch with you, or I forget his name. He was very upfront on cybersecurity opportunities. I forget his name. He's a well-known guy. I forget his name.
Yeah, I also forgot the name. I think cybersec people or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you go for this one, like cybersecurity recruiter, you will
Hmm.
find these people who are recruiting in cybersecurity,
Excellent.
right? So you can add them, and once you add them, I think there are other further steps over there. Now,
Hmm.
not a lot of people would know that you can find cybersecurity recruiters only by one title, but they can also have information security recruiter,
Hmm.
cybersecurity talent acquisition, headhunt, and all. Okay, sorry about the typo here. But you can go for these titles and then add those 20. So now you have added 40 security people, 20
Hmm.
cybersecurity recruiters. Okay, you can also provide a wildcard like this. You can give this entire query into here, and then it will be you'll be able to find everything.
Hmm.
Okay, now fun one thing, if I add someone, what is the value? There is no value if you guys are connected. Okay, you have to have a conversation starter. Okay, so let me show you my conversation starter. So as soon as someone adds me or I add them, I go for a one, generic message. Thanks for adding me. My name is Chintan. I have this experience. There is very little paragraph, and here is my portfolio. And I'm happy to have a, career insight or discussion or any, brainstorming topics that you want to discuss. So I just want to make them feel like I'm not just, person who is just adding you, but also interested to talk with you, talk about your industry, your region, and something. So once you have a conversation starter, imagine out of you are sending this to 60 people, whether it's a recruiter or security, only 5% will reply, but at least you
Hmm.
made those 5% connections very meaningful. So tomorrow, if you get on a video call, if you go for a virtual coffee catch up or in-person coffee catch up, that helps you a lot. And that is all about the networking. Okay.
Okay.
And yeah, so you add 60 people. Okay. And then you keep applying 10 jobs every day. And again, I'm doing all of these things for one country, New Zealand, for 1 week. I'm doing the entire process repetition for the Australia and then USA and then UK. So you keep doing that. Imagine um, within 3 years, I had more than 15,000 connections on LinkedIn. I had more than 100 recruiters who were actually knowing me because we had a one-to-one talk and stuff. And that also opened up many opportunities apart from jobs. So some people also asked me to contribute on their open source project or some sort of hiring strategies and stuff. So this
Okay.
is how I think this is the practical advice that I would give people.
And I believe that is a really, really a great insight because, just saying something you can do this and all that and showing, you know, the way how it works. This is really commendable. And it is the first time I'm seeing this kind of a hunting this search which is happening on the LinkedIn, and by which because I believe in if you're talking about the modern cybersecurity job searches and all that, I don't think so. People will go for any job portals. One of the easiest way and one of the shortest way you can get the things when you um, go by the LinkedIn or social media. I think that is an easy way to connect. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, and then also make sure there are a lot of studies and research which will give you a percentage that
Hmm.
percentage of jobs are, not being happening through the hiring process. They are always
Understood.
being through the reference and stuff, but not all the percentages are correct. I have got
Okay.
all of my jobs mostly through the interview process, even though references are there, but they are only for the background check. They won't be actually influencing your interview process. I think one thing that I forgot to show you here is this one, which is we discuss about, let me, so this is the resume format,
Can you zoom
which,
it, Chintan? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So this is the resume that I have been using. Um, Gives you a very little paragraph.
Hmm.
If you want to highlight some, industries that you're working in, then you can bold them. Your core competencies. Now,
Hmm.
certificates are important, but also if you tell them these are my core competencies, they would suddenly know whether I should spend time on this resume or not. If I'm applying for, so this is, and I have a separate resume. So I have Pentest, VM, AppSec, and consulting. These four resumes I have. So this one is the pentesting one. So if I'm applying for a vulnerability, let's say CTI job, if someone sees this resume and the core competition, there's nothing about CTI. So they
He will
would
reject
straight
your
away,
CV. You'll reject
yeah.
your
So
CV.
this is why I keep a separate resume. So core competition
Hmm.
certificates. Uh, if I have more certificates, I'm only showing the one that I really, required for this job, not everything. And then tools and technologies, which are, so here you have to be very careful. So you mention open source tools because there are lots of in cybersecurity, but only famous one. Okay. More important thing, if you keep mentioning the commercial tools that you have worked, because commercial tools are something you won't be able to purchase by yourself. That is something that shows that you have gained that experience in some
Hmm.
company. So I
Hmm.
think that is more, useful. Um, and definitely then, operating system and frameworks. So frameworks, open source and commercial tools are there, core competencies are there. So 50% of the mind of HR would be, make a decision that okay, I would need to go through this candidate. They will hardly see, what I was doing in the past job and stuff, because these are the something which will hiring manager is going to look into the deep. So
Hmm.
then I have, professional experience, very brutal point, but it has to be statistical. I have to say that I led more than, X many pen tests, X many red team engagements and stuff. I can't say that I did just pen tests. It has to be some statistical analysis. In the last, community engagement and also that shows how open you are. Once you go inside the company, not only you will do your job, but you'll also make other people learn. So what the talks I have given, the panel discussion, probably this talk podcast as well. So all the publication and stuff would come here. But make sure that it's two-page. You can follow this format. I have got almost all job regardless of countries and industries. So yeah, that is the one.
That is really excellent. And Chintan, coming back to the point about because people will give me bash on my comment box, you hijack the session. When you're talking about the mentor, can you just go back to the mentor section? Because I believe the most important thing in cybersecurity is the mentor, because the mentor is the one who guides you. Mentor is the one who supports you. Mentor is the one who drives your passions and all that. So how we select a good mentor? Okay, you said don't select mentor only based on number of certifications. Only, very good statement you said. So there's a difference between only, or there's a difference between certification. Definitely, because there is a
Yeah,
possibility that okay, like if I'm doing some studies and all that, and I want to do certification, I have a money, I can do that, but you cannot
right.
judge me based on number of certification. But only I make it makes sense. Second is you said don't base on the number of popularity and all that. I completely agree. Okay, fine. There's a guy who have only 500 followers. Oh,
Hmm.
sorry, 500 connections. And there's a guy who have a 1,50,000 connections. Okay, how we can select a right mentor?
Right. So I think whatever you see in the don't, if you just play a reverse psychology, that is an
Hmm.
actual checklist to fundamental.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Can you
yes,
zoom
you
it
should look.
little
Yeah,
bit?
sure. Can you see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay, so just reverse all of this sentence into reverse psychology. So that would be your actual checklist. So when I
Hmm.
say only certification, which means, yeah, you can go for that. They should have some certification, but that is not your only criteria to select the mentor. So one check is done. okay, are they famous? Are they popular? That is now, okay, I'm giving you this checklist, but not all of them are my mandatory criteria. Okay,
Hmm.
my mandatory criteria could be skills or certification, right? If your mandatory criteria is popularity, then you can also look for that. Have they given any sort of talk and stuff? Okay, do they have technical skills? So you look for every piece of this into one mentor, not
Hmm.
they will have everything and anything. And
Example?
that is why, so for example, let's say I have certifications and online presence, but
Hmm.
let's say my number of experience are 5 years compared to someone who is a head of security and has 17 years of experience, has some certification, but he's not famous. Okay, let's say there is a third person who has everything, but he cannot mentor well because he,
Hmm.
he has not, guided people well. So you will look for everything of this, and some of the a majority of them has to be in one mentor.
True.
That is the very reason what I'm telling people, that you should not always go for one mentor. Okay,
Okay.
you should go for multiple mentors. So you find multiple mentors. Okay, now imagine you have 6 mentors, you have gone through this criteria. Now you have 3 to 4 questions. Ask 3 to 4 questions, or let's say 10 questions. Ask 10 questions to your 5 different mentors. Okay, I'm not interested in what all differences they have. I'm only interested in that one particular answer which all of them have said
Hmm.
is the same. So that becomes my global truth, and that is something I should definitely follow, and then
Okay.
ignore the rest of the things. So this is
Okay.
how I would find a mentor.
That's great. And any other criteria you think we can consider?
Yeah, so I think mentor-mentee relationship is very odd because in my last 13 years I have got many mentees.
Hmm.
Now, as a mentor, I need to have very dynamic approach. Some people like only spoon feeding, some people like only guidance.
Hmm.
Okay, some people are very pushy and they are very excited when
Hmm.
the things are starting. But when I tell them, okay, give me a report after 1 month, give me a status update, I mean, the things are fading away.
Hmm.
I think one of the thing which is for mentors is you need to hold your mentees a lot because they will initially connect you, but
Hmm.
after 6 months or after 1 year, I mean, they are easily deviating from what you have discussed with them. Okay, because they think that okay, market is going this way, so they'll follow that and they won't update you and stuff. And I think as a mentee, they need to find a mentor who can, guide them, but they can only spoon feed only if there are no resources available. So for example, people come to me, they ask me, okay, I have these questions. I
Hmm.
give them this guide and I ask
Hmm.
them, you read this word by word. After this, if you have any additional question which is not covered here, I'm happy to spoon feed you. Okay, for
Hmm.
example, if they come for okay, I need to test this website, okay, I give you my checklist. Okay, you follow the checklist. If you're stuck in a command, then I'm there to help, but you don't expect me that I'll show you the entire methodology and stuff. So this is my way of mentorship, but some people like it, some people don't like, so I have to be dynamic.
And I agree on that part because actually I am, if you see the select the mentor who is down to earth, willing to learn coach, my profile, my image is different in social media because I don't much reply on LinkedIn on that because I hate technologies, just gazing onto social media. I post and I just switch off the LinkedIn. That's how I see the things. But when you what you rightly said about but changing the journey after 6 months and all that, but something come from the mentee also. Example, Chintan, I am your you are my mentor. I ping you for some advice, and after 1 week, I'm asking the same question. It means I was not serious on my first talk. So I'm
Yeah.
also wasting your time. Okay, or I'm taking in this way that he is available for me because very down to earth. So it can be gone and taken for granted.
Yeah.
So things works from both sides. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think things work from both ends, but as a mentor, I would not expect beginners to show me a lot of dedication, a lot of professionalism, and a lot of
Hmm.
structured,
Hmm.
a way of maintaining themselves.
Hmm.
So that's where the mentor comes into the picture, and they will
Hmm.
try to correct them.
Hmm.
They will separate the professional out of their hacker.
Hmm.
So this is where the mentor comes into the picture.
Excellent. An example of that? How you handle this case?
Yeah, so when people come to me, they have a different requirement. So some
Hmm.
people ask me a very basic stuff that, okay, I'm not sure where I'm going because they're already half of their career. Okay, and some people come and say, I need to start, but I don't know where to start. So okay, as a mentor, I have to listen to their specific problem because not all of the people have the same problem.
True.
And then telling them whether you fall into the same 75% of other people who have the same problem or not, or your problem is unique, which I don't have a solution. So I need to work with you. Okay,
Hmm.
all I do is I listen to them. I create a personalized plan for them, but I only give them one disclaimer that, okay, I'm doing this for free
Hmm.
just to keep my mind busy outside of 9 to 5 job. I'm not taking any money. Okay. So you respect my time and my effort. So if you are joining me on this journey, you need to show a dedication. Okay.
Hmm.
If I
Agree.
ask you for the update, yes, you can give me update. I won't be asking like a midnight 12 or something. Okay. I will be always flexible. Okay. But you need to show dedication. But at the same time, I give them a guarantee that if we go on this journey for at least 1 year, you would see a difference in yourself compared to your other people or other
Good
friends who
point.
have started as the same time from the
True.
university or a same company.
So you're talking about why that, if you do this, this is how you get a benefit. So you're talking about why here, which is a
Hmm.
very good thing. Instead of just telling them you have to do this, you're giving a justification, if you do like this will be the benefit, right?
Yeah, and I think that's something I have learned through my, first 8 years of consulting,
Hmm.
background. Because
Hmm.
we, as a consulting firm, we can do so many things as a part of the service delivery, but you always listen to the specific requirements and problems of clients. So you listen to them and then you provide a tailored solution, which is a
Hmm.
win-win situation for both of us.
It's a very good thing you said. And follow with this question, in the previous thing we discussed about how to hunt the recruiter or person on LinkedIn. But the question is, how do I research about company? Okay, I decided I want to become a pen tester. How can I
Right.
decide the company is hiring a pen tester? Or
Okay.
we got a job offer, we got some job application, but I need to do the research about the company, whether it basically meet my need, blah blah blah, all those things. So
Okay.
how can we hunt the company? Because there are very few talks on this area.
Right. So I think I do have a checklist for that, but before doing that, I want to ask you one thing. So
Hmm.
you want to know about the company because you're already in your mid career and you're being a choosy about the companies and domains, or you're a complete beginner but you still have a curiosity. So answer depends on what areas you are.
Hmm.
So basically, if there is a beginner, okay, they don't need to do a company research because for them, any first job in a cybersecurity domain would be much more beneficial. I think only thing that they would need to ignore or find out is that company is not a complete red flag. That
Hmm.
what they show on LinkedIn and they are not a registered company, or they are taking interns on the name of internship, but also asking them for for a money instead of paying them. So I
Hmm.
think these are the only little red flags that they would avoid. But if you're a beginner, any first beginner job that you're getting in a proper company, you're not worried about the company. But
Hmm.
let's say you are in the industry, you already spent like 4 or 5 years, you
Hmm.
already have a good profile. Now you can get a job in multiple companies. So now you will be become choosy. Okay, I need to do a company research. If the company is good for my career growth, then only I'll do a research for the company.
Hmm.
So there are multiple ways to do that. Okay, so first you would look for the revenue. Different countries would have a different portal. So
Hmm.
for us, we have something called Ministry of Corporate Affairs.
Hmm.
So, for example, if I go for the MCA services and
Hmm.
probably go for the master data, I would give a company name. It
Hmm.
will, and these are all the data which are already, public.
Hmm.
So you can go for the company. So this only tells, okay, now you don't have to worry about the authorized capital versus paid up capital and the revenue and stuff,
Hmm.
because these are the numbers after or before the tax, depending upon what are the requirements. But at least you know that the company is registered. You
Hmm.
know the company, office is there, and you know it's a proper company. Okay, so
Hmm.
if company is not registered and people are doing a lot of marketing, you will find that red flag here. Okay, revenue is something you can also get to know from their blog or their funding and stuff. Okay, what is the company size? So for example, let's say um, you give me any company name, or shall I pick any?
Any?
Okay, so let's say for example, if I pick one of my past company, um, KPMG New Zealand, then how would I find how many people are working in this company? So I'll go there. If you have a paid account in LinkedIn, then you can go for the insights.
Okay.
So insight will tell you that how many new hires are happening from February to July, and it's declining, which is fine. It's only new hire. One more thing is here, which is total employee count. So total employee count is still steady. Okay, and it says around 1272 people. Now New Zealand is a small country, so this is a pretty big number compared to that. But if you don't have a paid account, you can come to people, and then you will find how many people are associated with KPMG New Zealand. So these are all the people that you can find. And
Okay.
let's say then let's if you want to find someone, within KPMG New Zealand, you can search for that. Obviously, that is not my current company, so it won't list it up. Okay. At the same time, if you're interested in this company, you can directly go for their jobs. Okay, you will see a couple of jobs here, but if you click on show all jobs, then automatically all the filters are already in place, and then you will find all the jobs there. And
Hmm.
then you just give a keyword cyber or something. Okay, so this is how you would find a company size and area of focus is something you have to read about their about us and the services they are providing. If it's consulting, you know that client can be anyone and everyone. If it's
Hmm.
a product based, then you would know their client. So for example, Cloudflare is a product based company, so their clients are big giants, retail banks and all, and they're providing web services and all. Let's say Tenable, so they are providing security solutions. So this is how you would know. If you don't know that, again, give a company name, these questions to ChatGPT, and they will tell you what are the clients and all.
Hmm.
Reviews and feedback, I wouldn't rely a lot on this one, but
Because
just
that can be
to,
paid also.
yeah, that can be paid, but at the same time, if the employees are not happy, they will go on a Glassdoor and they'll put anything and everything.
Hmm.
So wouldn't review on that one. But yes, how you can find it out? Let's say if I go here. mm, So let's say I've been adding a lot of people. I mentioned about 60 people on a regular basis. I come here for that company. Imagine I got a call from HR. They are about to schedule a 30-minute call. Okay, so I come here and then I realize I have around 10 connections in my LinkedIn who are
Hmm.
working in this company. So I
Hmm.
will click here. Okay, and if I have talked with some of these people in the past, okay, then I would utilize their network and have a call and ask them, okay, how do you feel about this job, this company and
Hmm.
stuff. So this is how I would do a review of that
That,
company
that
culture
makes
and
sense.
everything.
That makes
Yeah.
sense because you get authentic details and all that, I believe.
Yeah, because they trust you, you trust them, you had a talk in the past, so they will
Hmm.
always give you, good stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, competitors news. So again, you can go on a Google, you can find the competitor now. One, this is something. Okay, so the recent news, competitor and value and mission are something for the advanced people. Now
Hmm.
they're being choosy about the company who has a good value proposition, value
Hmm.
and mission, and they are beating their competition and all. Okay, but this is something you wouldn't worry as a part of the beginner. So this is how you would do a company research. I
True.
think one thing which is also tied to this one is you're doing a company research, but what about your priorities? Do we know
Hmm.
that why we change a job? Have you got any
Hmm.
questions like why do you change a job?
Yes, it's a very common question.
Right. So I believe these are all the criterias when
Pointers you can
people
say.
change a job.
Hmm.
So career growth, compensation, time, work-life balance, and stuff. I give you a very stupid example. So if you work in a Google California B-side office 1 day a year, okay, then even these 8 or 9 criteria won't even fulfill at all. It won't be possible at all.
Okay.
Okay,
Why?
because either you are getting a, I mean, you are getting everything, but
Hmm.
your boss is not right. Your
Hmm.
boss is right and you're getting everything, but your colleagues are not right. Everything is fine, but your clients are giving you a pain. Okay, something will definitely not work.
Okay.
Okay, so that is the reason, and that is my 14 years of experience. Whether it's a product, I worked in a consulting firm, product-based firm. I work in a small startup SME to big giants and all. I worked in a entertainment domain, automotive domain, fintech and stuff. But I feel like not 9 criteria are fulfilled in any company, even if it's your dream job. So what you should do, you should only prioritize three things: whether I'm
Hmm.
looking for money, whether I'm looking for work-life balance, or whether
Hmm.
I'm looking for learning. Okay, out of these three, if only two are meeting, then that company is still good for you because you
Okay.
don't go and prioritize 4 or 5 criteria. So this is how you
True.
should do your research and company research.
And you can do this if you have a 40-year of experience and then, company want to choose you.
Yeah, it depends. And I think once you have 40 years of experience, you are definitely not applying for any job and you are
Hmm.
just talking to people and in your, beer conversation or coffee conversation in a pub, they casually ask you, would you like to join our firm? So I think that would happen at the year of 40.
That's the thing, then you decide which company you want to join
Yeah.
as a consultant or as a brand manager and all that,
Yeah.
influencers and all that. Yeah.
You also mentioned about the company research, and now I'll ask you one question. Okay,
Hmm.
what are the biggest dream companies that you want to work for
Yeah.
in in
I
in
it, it
international?
it was a big four to be frank, and
Okay,
because I don't have a graduation regular, even everything was less. It was
forget
always a
about
dream.
forget
No,
about
I'm
your
I'm I'm I'm,
credentials.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I'm telling you now. So it was always a dream to work for Big Four
Okay.
because but my things got sorted. till last stage, but when they asked for the degree, I could not able to provide. So yes, it is always a wish to have a one job in Big Four, whether it's a Deloitte, KPMG. At least my preference was EY and Deloitte. That was
Right.
my first preference, yeah.
So are they the biggest companies? Like, I'm not saying they are not. Yes, they are the biggest company in the
Huh, huh,
consulting world, but
huh.
still other people would prefer like Google, Meta, Amazon, and
And
all.
I will tell you something. So what
Yeah.
happened is when you start your journey,
Hmm.
for you, your dream company is suppose, let's say in Big Four. Okay, then
Right.
when you join Big Four, you start cribbing about Big Four, making a
Hmm.
memes and all that. See, first of
Yeah.
all, you're struggling to get a first opportunity. Once you get an opportunity, crib about that. Now, when you are in Big Four, you had one of the customer from the aerospace and all that. Now you become a dream to work with that company because you like their interaction. So it's all about how you manifest. It is all
Right.
about how you visualize. But visualization come with your learning. How
Right.
you learn. You want to do OSCP, right? And just tell me frankly, when you were in a 10th standard, do you dreamt of OSCP? Like you will do
No,
OSCP.
never.
Exactly. When you
Didn't even
enter
knew.
in, even when you came to pen testing, you got to know, okay, OSCP kuch hai, OSCP
Hmm.
something, then you manifest OSCP. Same like, when we do visualization, we do visualization based on some facts,
Right.
based on
So
data.
the reason I ask you because your visualization, even in a large spectrum, you
Hmm.
think that okay, my visualization is this. But what if that large spectrum is also not a full spectrum?
Exactly, I agree.
Okay, so for
Possible.
example, I have got a many, people asking me that how how can I get a job in a FANG company, Google, Microsoft, Meta, and all. And I ask them, okay, these are the biggest company from your point of view, and they say yes, and yes, they are biggest company, but what they're limited to is this one. We know Apple, Microsoft, Google, Meta, Amazon, they are all biggest companies, top
Hmm.
companies in the infotech world only.
Hmm.
If you
Not in
go for the
healthcare.
healthcare, then United Health is their Google, Johnson
Excellent.
and Johnson is their Meta.
Hmm.
So hardly people would be applying in UPS, and Ubisoft is like one of the biggest gaming company. People would know about EA, but they would never apply to EA because they are only focusing here. Okay,
Hmm.
and obviously this market would be cluttered, but you have to know that these are the top 50 companies in their own criteria and own zone.
Hmm.
So this is something I didn't even know until my wife, she's a scientist in a biotech company. So she started
Wow.
working for one of the, pharmaceutical company. And I came to know that, okay, these are their Google. So this
Wow.
is, and then I asked ChatGPT, okay, I want top 20, 50 domains, like in industry, and I want 50 companies from those each industry. And then I came to know, I think the spectrum is too big and we have to widen up our, job search and stuff.
I agree. That's what I'm telling, 10 years back, my dream was to work for that company. But today, when I'm interacting with a customer, I wish I can work for that company. Okay, it's one of the
Yeah.
biggest aero manufacturers and all that. So yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
So as you said, you talk about the job hunting and all that. But one of the most interesting thing I want to ask you about, what should I know before switching a job in cybersecurity?
Okay. So you're talking about the prerequisites.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are prerequisite before the job and there are prerequisite before coming into the cyber. So
Hmm,
these are the
hmm,
two
hmm,
separate things. So I have given the prerequisite before you come into the cyber. So
hmm,
let me show you that. So if anyone coming into the cyber, I think they should know about these stuff. This
hmm.
is a table. So fundamental
But he should
concept.
not he should not know how to hack social media, how to hack girlfriend account, how to hack family account. Because I thought writing a scripting and all that you can become a pen tester. Then you're
In
telling the
order
wrong
to do
information.
that, you would also need to learn this one. But yes, you don't do that. Okay. I
Uh,
mean, you don't learn this to do that only because that's not going to give you money and fame. And probably, yeah, you may get a jail, but
uh,
not money.
but but
But
but but is it possible? Can I make $1 million in hard cash in my hand in 6 months?
yes, if you do illegal stuff,
Hmm.
but
Because
it's at,
there's a
at
lot of
your own
videos
risk.
around. I don't know whether you noticed. There's a lot of videos in India
Hmm.
where the mentors are doing a promotion with that. Having a currency here and making a hacking as a luxury job. You know, if you're
Right.
nothing and become a hacker, you will get. So, what is the message for those people who get obsessed with that kind of videos?
Okay, yeah. So I think that's where your mentor would come into the picture because
Hmm.
you get everything validated by your mentor and they
Hmm.
would know the industry and market. So now there
Hmm.
are only two ways, two things which are happening in the market. If if people are claiming to become a millionaire, okay, probably it would be an illegal route within a no time because that's not practical. If that is practical, half of the world would have followed that. Now, the marketing stuff that you're talking about, that is a lot happening, and I've seen a lot, on LinkedIn, because those are the companies. I think some of them are in also in your league, because those are the companies who are selling the courses, right? Now, you know that you are the old player in this market. How many training companies come into the market on every year?
Hmm.
Okay, and I'll give very funny scenario. So, what has happened in the last few years? Okay, so let me give you a practical example. So, I'm coming from Ahmedabad, small city compared to Mumbai. Okay, I'll go for, let's say, cyber. Okay, I'll go for the people. I'll go for the location Ahmedabad. Okay, now I'll give one more filter which is in the hidden one, which is title, and I'll give founder. So founder will cover founder plus co-founder.
Hmm.
So you would be surprised that there are 39 pages with a founder title who are working or worked in a cybersecurity.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, if I go on a Google, let's say Maps, you find a cybersecurity companies, they are not even 25, the whole
Hmm.
list,
Hmm.
including big and small. Okay. Not because they are listed here, but what I'm trying to say, there are so many people coming into cybersecurity as a founder. Now, since last 10 years, I have noticed a pattern, and that is something that we were discussing, that courses part. Okay, let's say if we are in the same college and we have a group of four, and I know that I'm a techie, I know that you manage a splitwise account because we go for a movies a lot. Okay, suddenly one day I decide, okay, I think why don't you become a CFO of my company? I'll become a CTO because I'm technical, and this guy will be a market because he handles a social media and he does a lot of WhatsApp group management, so he'll become as a CMO, right?
Hmm.
Social media marketing. Okay, let's open a company. Okay, you pay 500 rupees, you get a custom domain, you call yourself a CEO and founder. Okay,
Hmm.
now why this is happening? Because you can open a company, but the problem that you're facing is this. So you don't have a market experience, you don't know your competition, you don't know professionalism, no one knows you in the market, so no one trusts you, so no one will give you a project. Okay, so you struggle to get a project. Okay, up to here is fine, you struggle to get a project for 6 months, 1 year. So what you will do, you will start selling the course, and that's where a lot of training companies are coming into the market. When you start selling a course, it's easy because India has 1.5 billion population. You can start selling course into local group, universities, colleges, and also the government like police and cyber cell department and all. Okay, you keep doing that for 4 years, 5 years, while you are still trying to figure out the projects on the market. Okay,
Hmm.
because still you are a consulting firm. So you are getting your bread and butter, but you are not growing at all because probably you are the four people only in your company, and one of them is only giving a training. So the number of employees, I showed you the LinkedIn insight, the number of full-time employees are also not increasing. If they are not increasing, your revenue is not increasing. Okay, so we both started at the same time. Let's say you follow that model and I'm following my normal job, and then New Zealand and all these model on. After 5 years, you will get slowly into the depression of CEO or founder that I'm not growing. If I would have followed what Chintan has done, now he's a manager, a senior manager in a big four. Okay, I think I should stop everything and I should go on that path. You stop your company, okay, you start applying to big four as a manager or at least assistant manager. Companies don't even consider you because you don't have you haven't worked as a senior security analyst or engineer in big four. So they ask you to start with an associate consultant or analyst after 5 years, while I'm already 5 years ahead. Okay. So this is the reason why so many companies are coming into the market and it's hard for them to sell the courses. So they have to come up with a creative marketing strategy. So that
Hmm.
creative marketing strategy would fall into 50% lie, 50%, half baked truth and stuff.
Okay. And that is the reason is even the YouTube community has increased in last 10 years,
Hmm.
okay, in cyber, where we have a very known self-claimed gurus, and they are basically penetrating the market with that values.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that has increased a lot. I
Mm.
have done a particular research on all the cyber YouTube channels for top 100. Okay. Now, if you're making any sort of cringe content, you will get instant followers.
Exactly.
Okay. Not talking about cyber. If you're going for the cyber or the educational content, okay, it's very hard to even reach to the 70K, 80K subscriber. Okay, if
Agree.
someone is doing from a long term business, then only they would be hardly able to reach to the million. I have never seen any YouTube channel who would be, crossing the 5 million and stuff. Okay,
Hmm.
so if they are doing it for their company, okay, it wouldn't work because the YouTube, I mean, people come on YouTube regularly for the different stuff, not for the cyber stuff. So it will
Hmm.
be still there, but you are not increasing your, content and stuff. I mean, so what I recommend people that if you are opening a company, okay, you must have at least one of these. You
Solid
have a
funding,
very
initial
solid,
funding. Yeah.
you have very solid product which no one has done in the market, so that will go viral automatically. Okay, you
Hmm.
just need to have a little bit of marketing strategy. Okay, you must have a unique service. So imagine how many of those 300 people would be providing the consulting services in Ahmedabad, pen
Hmm.
testing, web application security, and how many of the other companies are doing the same thing. So what is this, USP in your company? Why would I give you a project? Okay, so you have to find a unique service. Let's say if in Ahmedabad, if there is one company who is providing the hardware and IoT security assessment, that would be unique. Okay,
Hmm.
some companies would be interested. If you don't have any of these, you have a solid funding. Why? Because if I have money, I can either build a unique service or build a unique product, or I can hire a greatest BDM of all time in India. They can get me a project. I complete some of the project, put a
But
logo on my website, and then I can go.
but I can deliver one project with that aspect, and if it failed, I can do two more, but I won't get a repeated business.
I think, let's say if I'm talking about the solid funding, okay, you're hiring a BDM to get you the project. Once they give you the project, BDM's reputation is on stack. I've worked in a companies where they were getting a client based on the BDM reputation. So if BDM goes, the client will also
Live
switch the
exam, Big
vendor.
Four. Big Four is a live example of that.
Yeah, so they will also switch the vendor, right? So when the BDM is giving you a project, they would be expecting a quality and quantity from you. Otherwise, they won't even engage with you. And
Hmm.
that is the reason why they are taking a lot of big money.
Okay, that's a good approach. I think that's a very good eye opener for me to, that's why the Naval Ravikant also say, na, the skill plus knowledge. What
Mhm.
is the unique thing you're bringing things in the market and all that? That's how you drive the thing. So I believe that's the most important part.
Yeah, I think what we discussed in one last hour is all about how you can present yourself, whether you are
Hmm.
a company or you are yourself. Okay,
Hmm.
right from the resume, and we haven't even touched the LinkedIn part. We just talked about the resume and the other part,
Hmm.
website and stuff. So I think that's where your marketing strategy comes into the picture.
Exactly. And when it comes to Chintan, the requirement of getting listed and all that, and as you also said about job profiles and all that, or CVs basically thing. But what are the factors should I consider before applying for a job? We discuss about job hunting tips and all that, general tips or where to apply and all that. So, what is your last viewpoint on this area?
Okay, so last viewpoint is you have to have a tailored resume for every single job.
Hmm.
Okay, otherwise you are not passing the criteria of job applicants. So for
Hmm.
example, let me go to the job here. For example, I'm picking, let's say this one.
Hmm.
Okay, now there are 38 applications. Let's say I'm just okay. Let me go to the United. What's this? Okay, now why you have to be unique? You see that inside a threat lead. Okay, 71 applications. This over 100 applications, and over 100 they don't even give count. Okay, this one 6 applicants, head of security over 100. So the market is anyway too much cluttered. So
Hmm.
imagine your resume lands into their bucket. First of all, there would be either they have a ATS or they have a AI system nowadays. Okay, it will filter a lot of noise for them. Okay, then even you have a slightest chances that okay, out of 25 resume, when HR is reviewing manually, you might you might get selected or rejected. So that's where you have to be unique. Okay, so the way I would suggest is copy the job description entirely.
Hmm.
Okay, go to ChatGPT, paste it here. This is the job description. I am attaching my current resume. Kindly tailor my resume. So you just give this prompt, add your own resume, and let it tailor for you, and then you use that resume to apply there. So this is how I would do that. So it will analyze my resume and it will try to sprinkle these keywords somewhere in my resume, or it will suggest me that you should add these things.
Hmm.
So you do that for every single job. Okay, and then it will also ask you, okay, I'm going to add a couple of these stuff, and shall I fully write your resume? And if I say yes,
Okay.
so this is my last tip for you when how you should do that, because you need to do that, otherwise the market is very cluttered. One more tip that I'll give you. Okay, I have applied all my last 10 years of job through LinkedIn only, but recently I found this one. So cyber jobs in, let's say,
UK.
India.
जो भी
I'll
है हाँ.
go for it. So you go here, and these are the jobs. So if I click here, I'm not on the Google career portal, but this is a
Hmm.
Google scraper. So Google
Hmm.
scraper will list the job from every single portal into one single pane of glass. So you're not missing anything. So for example, if I go here, this job is only listed here. So this is not on LinkedIn. So I would have missed that. This one is on LinkedIn, so it's fine. This one is on multiple portals. It's also on LinkedIn, also on other portals. So it's fine. So if there are jobs which are not on LinkedIn, I don't want to miss them. So every single job would come here. Okay, and then you can apply like, and then this is like a free form of keyword, so you can apply like for freshers. So you'll find the entry level cybersecurity engineer and stuff. So I think use Google Scraper a lot, and
Hmm.
then you can also filter by entry level or date posted within the last month and stuff. So I think this is
Okay.
the best way to find. Now, one last tip: when you are here, if it says apply on LinkedIn, you can go there. If you find a company name, then go on a company website and apply from there, not from LinkedIn, because then you have a higher chances. So
Hmm.
always try to find the official website and go from there.
And how important is a good LinkedIn profile without
Oh,
picture or
LinkedIn
open to
profile.
network? Yeah.
It's very much,
Yeah.
and it's to be honest, you will feel little hard when you start maintaining it. But once you start getting views, it will be more attractive.
Hmm.
You wouldn't be able to resist yourself, coming to a LinkedIn on every single day. It's like a TikTok. So I have also given a LinkedIn profile, things here. Now you'll find so many articles which will tell you what is a profile picture, how it should look like, and your contact information should be up to date and all. They are already there. My first three important tip is this one. Okay, you like and share only related to cybersecurity. I'll tell you a reason. So for example, let me close this. Okay, so this is my profile. Okay, imagine you are coming to my profile, you just navigating, so you know about these stuff and all.
Hmm.
But when you come here, if you see stuff that I liked, some of the motivational video or some of the video which someone posted which is not related to cyber, it will also come on my feed. If
Yeah.
someone wants to check my work, they will click here, show on the post, and I'm randomly liking and sharing other people's stuff. Okay, so I want my profile to be my content, and I don't want my profile to be like a bookmark where I'm just randomly liking and sharing stuff. So I have to be very careful what I like and share. And I can like and share, but only 2% out of 100%. So when someone comes to my profile, they should only see my generated content, not other people's generated content, which I have liked. So that is one
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
When you write your things, it's the same thing. You write only about the cybersecurity. So, for example, if you come to my profile, you see all the posts. Only if there is something which is a tremendous achievement, I will post that. Okay, but I will also try to link it with the cybersecurity. So, for example, everything here is all about the cyber. Okay, I'm a solo paraglider pilot. I achieved the certification, but also I have linked that with a cybersecurity narrative story. Okay,
Hmm.
so but everything else is still cyber, cyber, cyber. So I want to provide people a greater of my content rather than other stuff. Okay, and writing relevant posts is matter. So you okay, when I say writing your post, which means you have to keep writing, once in 2 weeks, and twice in 2 weeks or something, but you keep writing the cybersecurity stuff. Okay, now let's collect everything. You are adding 60 people on a weekly basis. You are sending the DM conversation starters, so people are visiting your profile regularly, and then you are starting to write on a weekly basis. So imagine after 3 years, when you have a 15,000 connections, at least 50% of them would be seeing your profile. And I'll give
True.
you a live example. So I wrote this morning. This one, it's around 7 hours. There are 958 views. This
Hmm.
one 3,000 views. It's around 2 weeks ago. This one 10,000 views. Okay, when you click on the 10,000 views, you'll also get analytics that how many senior people have seen your post, how many IT consulting people, how many other people have seen your post and stuff. Okay, so this is more attractive because I'm writing stuff and minimum I'm getting 8,000, 5,000, 4,000, 2,000 views,
Great.
right? Now imagine, let's take an example, 5,600 impressions. This many people have seen this probably. Imagine half of the people, or let's say only 5% of the people have liked it. So there are more than 125 likes.
Hmm.
Okay, so this post would go on their profile. Okay, imagine their connection who would have seen this thing. So the moment I make any post and if it is going viral, within the next following 2 3 weeks, I'm getting a lot of LinkedIn connections.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is how you grow organically your LinkedIn profile. This is how you build your network and connection. But I'm just adding people, but I'm not giving them anything. That's not the point. If I'm adding people, they are coming to my profile, I'm giving them something. So this is how I make my LinkedIn profile, and all the practical tips are here.
Excellent. And that's why I'm making a lot of points on this area and on that, because some of the new things which I like, and I'm going to use that on my videos also. Definitely, I'm going to give her credits. I got this insight from Chintan, but these are basically a very good stuff that you have shared about, how overall things works and all that from cyber. As those who are not aware about that, this is the new series, and this series I'm doing with Chintan, where our target is to give authentic, transparent information to the right set of people with the right set of mindset. And it is just the first part of the video where we discuss about how to present yourself. So, Chintan, what is special about our next video? What is we going to cover in the next video?
I think still a lot of stuff we haven't touched
Hmm.
from this block.
Hmm.
Again, I'm also collecting a little different questions from the
Hmm.
different people.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think we'll deep dive some of the myths and realities of whether to do a master degree or not. What are the entry level roles, whether you're
Hmm.
going for the offensive and defensive,
Hmm.
and what are the practical tips. You have seen my resume, but you don't know how I made that resume. So practical
Exactly.
tips on the resume building and stuff. So
Hmm.
those are the
Hmm.
stuff that we'll cover in the next part.
Excellent. And I also waiting for the comments on this video. We also get some insight from those comments also what should be the next video or what should the future videos on a similar topic. And but to be frank, at least I got 20 pointers at least from this video which give a lot of insights about that area. But before we wind up this session, Chinta, do you want to share any last minute tips and advice?
Um, just I don't have any particular stuff, but it's just you keep reading stuff. Okay, there is a plenty of stuff in the market. Okay, you need to find out yourself what is a quality and quantity. um, there is 75% which is garbage, and focus on those 25%. So I think I would just advise that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chintan bhai. And I'm looking forward for the another video where we talking about the problem statements on cybersecurity. And I don't know how it went. I think we did the podcast for 1 hour 30 minutes, and I'm sure it will create a lot of value for the people. And I'm looking forward for more videos from you, more discussion from you, which can give a lot of insight to the people.
Thank you, looking forward to collaborate.
Thanks, Chintan. This is all from our side team, and this is the first video which we are releasing. And I must say it's not a Prabh Nair series, it's a Chintan series which we are doing, and where we going to discuss about the practical inside of Chintan. And in the next video, we're going to discuss about the myth and facts about the cybersecurity in different careers. And we have a lot of things to be covered. And I'm sure after this series, you get a lot of insights. I don't think so. You need to depend on someone else. You get crystal clear idea about how to use AI and how to validate the mentor and all that. And I believe after that you get a lot of insights and you will get a lot of clarity about things. And thanks for watching this particular podcast. And if you like this podcast, do share a network. And if you have any suggestions in your perspective about this video and all that, do share your suggestions because we take those suggestions very seriously, whether it's a positive or negative, and we'll try to improve our podcast because ultimately we are here for supporting you. This is all from my side. Thank you so much and good day. Bye.